Hello and welcome back to Football Daily, where today we are running through 10 players who have proved us wrong so far this season. Remember, the most liked comment will feature on Sunday Vibes, so make sure you leave your thoughts below. Let's get started. 10. Lorenzo Pellegrini. Having touted Lorenzo Pellegrini for a number of Premier League moves over the last few seasons, no one at Football Daily believed he was anything other than an excellent player. But we did believe he might struggle under Jose Mourinho. With the memories of the Portuguese's treatment of Dele Alli still fresh in our minds, with the Englishman starting just 2 of his final 31 league games in charge, we were worried Pellegrini would get the same treatment. After all, whilst the Italian has always worked hard, with only Mkhitaryan pressuring an opponent more last campaign, he, like Dele, can often give the ball away, only completing 38% of his dribbles last term, and never more than 82% of his passes across a campaign. But how wrong could we have been? The Giallorossi captain has been a man on fire with 5 goals and 1 assist in his first 5 Serie A and Conference League games at the time of writing. Anyone that saw his impotent flicked finish against Verona earlier this month knows this is a man at the top of his game. 9. David De Gea. Let's have it right, the final months of 2020-21 were incredibly challenging for David De Gea. Granted 10 days off in March to return to Spain for the birth of his first child, Dean Henderson's form saw him lose his place in the starting 11, only featuring in 2 of their final 12 league games. To cap it off, he failed to save any of Villarreal's 11 penalties in the Europa League final shootout before missing the decisive one himself. Having been nothing more than a spectator at this summer's Euros, his future for club and country appeared uncertain. But his solid form behind a new centre-back pairing at the start of this season has been a key reason behind Man United's promising start to the campaign. With the Red Devils facing 11.6 shots per game and having only the 7th best defence according to expected goals against, the 30-year-old has been busy, but has thus far risen to the challenge. Only Alisson and Lloris can top his 0.4 saves per 90 from inside the 6-yard box. He's already saved 2 expected goals, the 9th best record in Europe, and he even saved a penalty for the first time since 2016. Fair play De Gea. 8. Dušan Vlahović. After a magnificent 2020-21 campaign that saw Dušan Vlahović score a remarkable 21 league goals, the most for a Fiorentina player since Gilardino's 25 in 2008-09, there was a lot of speculation that he'd move on this summer. At the time we were a little sceptical. After all, he'd only scored 7 Serie A goals in 51 games prior to mid-December 2020, and with 6 of his strikes coming from the spot, we felt his €70 million price tag was a little steep. But it appears that Vlahović might just be worth that money, backing up last campaign with a strong start to this one, with 3 goals in 5 Serie A games at the time of writing, including a brace in La Viola's shock 2-1 win over Atalanta. Vincenzo Italiano will be concerned about his side's over-reliance on the former Partizan frontman though, with his expected goals per 90 ratio of 0.48, 0.32 more than next best Milenkovic. Whilst his hold-up play needs a little polishing, if Vlahović continues at this rate, he'd be a smart pickup for anyone looking for an elite finisher next year. 7. Dimitri Payet. When George Sampaoli brought in Amina Harit, Cengiz Ünder and Conrad de la Fuente this summer, it felt like the Argentinian might be preparing to phase out long-time Marseille talisman Dimitri Payet. Don't get us wrong, Payet has been nothing short of superb since rejoining the club from West Ham in January 2017. Contributing 61 goals and 80 assists in 257 games to date. His 0.5 goal contributions per game in that time is exactly the same as what Premier League legend David Silva managed at Man City. But with his 35th birthday coming up next March, it perhaps made sense to look to the future. But Payet hasn't been having any of that. Often playing up front in Sampaoli's ever-changing formation, the 38-capped attacker has contributed 3 goals and 1 assist in 4 Ligue 1 games to date, with only 3 players in France contributing more. His shots have leapt to 3.3 per 90, his best since 2014-15 at Lille, whilst only 5 players in Europe can top his 17 chances created at the time of writing. We don't think he's bowing out anytime soon. 6. Ander Herrera. Of all the players we expected to be raving about at PSG, Ander Herrera wasn't top of our list. Yet of all the glittering talent on display at the Parc des Princes, it's their unassuming Spanish midfielder who is currently grabbing the headlines. Herrera has been on fire in Ligue 1, with 3 goals and 2 assists in their opening 7 games of the season. He is already on course for his highest scoring season in 8 years, while he even netted PSG's solitary goal in the Champions League, all being achieved at the ripe old age of 32. But beyond his unexpected creative touch, the Basque native is continuing to excel in his normal understated role. Clearly trusted by Pochettino, only Mbappe has received more minutes than Herrera thus far. His pass accuracy is running at a ridiculous 94%, although not entirely progressive, while he is still completing 1.9 blocks and attempting 18 pressures per 90. His defensive output might be down on previous seasons, but his new attacking flair has more than compensated for this shift. The arrival of Gini Wijnaldum could have left Herrera's future in doubt. Instead, the former Bilbao man has risen to the challenge, and if anything looks like the real fresh face in the PSG midfield. 5. Sébastien Haller. Rightly or wrongly, Sébastien Haller didn't have the greatest of reputations at Football Daily. A £45 million move to West Ham in 2019 produced just 10 goals across a challenging debut campaign in England. Not terrible, though the Hammers were happy to accept less than half their initial investment when Ajax came calling 18 months later. Back in the Netherlands, where he spent 2.5 years with FC Utrecht, the Ivorian forward looks much happier. Haller has followed up scoring 11 goals in the Eredivisie last term with 5 and 6 this season. 52% of his 4 shots per 90 are now hitting the target, both career highs. Now 27, the former Eintracht man looks in the peak of his career, not least in the Champions League, where Haller marked his competition debut with a 4-goal haul against a hapless Sporting side. Not since Marco van Basten in 1992 has a player made such an explosive start to his UCL career, made all the sweeter by the fact that an administrative error kept him out of Ajax's squad for last season. We never saw this coming, but long may it continue. 4. Jack Grealish. Once Harry Kane's prospective move to Man City collapsed and Cristiano Ronaldo's brief flirtation with the club came to an end, a lot of fans were left asking, have they signed the right £100 million player? That's not because Jack Grealish, the 6th most expensive transfer in history, isn't a brilliant player. But with wide men including Sterling, Mahrez, Foden, Torres and Bernardo Silva, it was felt that a striker was the necessity. Whilst that still might ring true, Grealish has carried his momentum from the Euros into his new team, taking to his new surroundings like a duck to water. The 26-year-old has 1 goal and 1 assist to his name in 5 Premier League appearances at the time of writing, and marked his Champions League debut with a magnificent goal and a further assist. With De Bruyne having missed much of the early weeks, Grealish has been Pep's 4th most used player, and leads his side for key passes and dribbles. In fact, only 4 players in Europe's top 5 leagues can top his 18 chances created, whilst he ranks first for progressive carries and distance carried with a ball. An absolutely seamless start to life in Manchester. 3. Declan Rice. We all knew Declan Rice was quality. His outstanding performance in the final of the Euros was just another example of his class. What we weren't sure about is just how much versatility there was to his game. But much to our relief, the opening stages of the new campaign has proven Rice has all the assets to become the complete midfielder. In 2021, the West Ham man excelled in his defensive duties. He completed 68 interceptions, the 2nd most in the Premier League, while he led the Hammers side for tackles and interceptions with 4.5 per 90. This season, however, is revealing a whole different player. Rice is currently ranked 3rd in the top flight for both passes and carries into the penalty area, whilst he also has an assist and a magnificent solo goal against Dinamo Zagreb to his name already, showing just how much his all-round game has improved. This guy is sure of a mega move next summer if West Ham will allow it. 2. Demarai Gray. Back in the summer, we gave Everton's decision to sign Demarai Gray a fairly tough time. Hamstrung by financial fair play regulations, the Toffees were limited in their transfer activities, most notably signing Solomon Rondon and Andros Townsend on a free plus spending £2 million on Gray. While not a massive fee, a difficult spell at Leicester City plus an underwhelming 6-month stay with Bayer Leverkusen, which delivered just 3 goal involvements, set the bar low for expectations. But the 25-year-old has started the season on fire, producing some serious quality in front of goal. He has already scored 3 times in the league, 2 more than XG predicted, while also managing 2 shots per 90. An instrumental figure behind Everton's exciting start to the campaign, he also leads his side for dribbles with 1.3 per game and ranks 3rd for key passes. It appears he just needed to find a home, and in Rafa Benitez, a manager who can finally unleash his potential. Long may his good fortune on Merseyside continue. 1. Vinícius Júnior. Anyone who watches Continental Club will know Henry Hill hasn't been the biggest fan of Vinícius Júnior. He took issue with the Brazilian's stumbling start to life at Real Madrid, which delivered merely 8 goals and 4 assists across 3 La Liga campaigns. An average return of 0.7 goals per shot only emboldened his belief that Vini Jr. lacked a cutting edge in the final third. However, this season it's a whole different story. The 21-year-old has been in blistering form under Carlo Ancelotti, netting 5 goals from just 402 minutes of La Liga action. That's a goal every 80 minutes. A man reborn in the box, a whopping 69% of his efforts are hitting the target, more than double his return last season. while his goals to shot rate has risen 440% to 0.4. The former Flamengo star has been almost unplayable. He is currently completing 3.3 dribbles and 9.3 progressive carries per 90, and his late assist for Benzema against Valencia showed he is ready for the big occasions. The rise of Vinícius Júnior this term shows that sometimes a player just needs a little more time to show what they can really do. So guys, that was our rundown of 10 players proving us wrong this season. I'm sure we have many other examples, so get them in the comments down below. If you've enjoyed this video, please smash that like button and subscribe to Football Daily, and I'll catch you on the flip side.